So in today's video, we're going to review how to create a custom function. So as you know, you can use functions within Excel. So if I wanted to do, equals this minus this, I can do that. If I wanted to do sum, this would be a function. I want to sum those two numbers up. But often there is something that you need to do that is too complicated to do in a formula. So I have here, theoretically, I could do this in formula. So what I want to do is I want to create a bio to say what the nationality of the individual was, when they were born, and then when they died. And I want to put that if we don't have the birth date, then it will just say they died on that date. If we don't have the death date, it will just put that they were born on that date. Now I could create a very complicated if statement that says equals, if this equals this, I do this. If it equals this, I do this. But this is actually easy to do in a formula. So I'll show you what I did. So first of all, when you're creating a custom formula, you're going to have to do this in Visual Basic. So you're going to want to go to the Developer tab and then go into Visual Basic. You want to create this function first, or at least start it before you actually add it here. So if I try to create a new one and I call it bio test, and I then put the formulas in, or the values in that I'm going to need to read this, it's just going to come back with this. So, which is fine for now, but we want to, it's best to create this first. So let's pretend we're going to do this one. We've already got one here that's working, but let's create a new one. So one thing is you're going to have to go into your modules. You cannot put this in your sheets. So you're going to have to create a module. So the module 1 should already be there. So let's go into module 1 and we're going to create a function, and we're going to call it biotest. And then the next thing you need is with this function, we have 3 values that we need in this. We need the nationality, we need the beginning date and the end date, or the birth date and the death date. So let's go back. So you can see here, I'm just going to actually copy this from below just to make it easier. So here we've got, so let's actually flip over to the one I've already got created just for time's sake, so we can just look at that one. So let me go to, sorry, let me just close that. Let me just go to this and remove this one. So here's one I've already created. Let me just step through what I've done. So we've got 3 pieces of data that we need for this. We've got the nationality, we've got the beginning date and the end date, or in this case, a birth date and the death date. And you can see I've stored these values in here. So I've got string nationality as a string. I've got int BD, so birth date, that's why it's BD, as an integer, and int DD, death date, as an integer. These values, these variables that you set here, you can set them with whatever value you want, but it's important to know that if it is a string, you set as a string, integer, long, whatever the data type is. That is important. It's actually not required. I could actually remove these and just let Excel figure that out, but it is better just to set those so you know what they are. And then we're going to need another thing here. So string dates is just, I made this a little simpler to read. This isn't the most efficient way to do this, but I have created this so that we kind of put the values together that we need, and then we'll append those at the end, and we'll see that in a second. So here I've got, if the birth date equals 0 and the death date does not equal 0, then I want to put it is, and you can see there's a comma here because nationality is down here already. I'm going to put comma, died, and then that date. Both of them are blank. I'm not going to do anything. If one of them, if I have the birth date, not the death date, then I'm going to just say it's born. The person was born on this date. And if I have both of them, I'm going to just put their years from their birth year and their death year in one. And then I'm going to append those two things together. And you'll see I've got here bio. So the function name is bio. I've got to put this down here. This is a value that's actually going to be produced. I could just use bio in here and put bio in here and then append these together down here. But I put them as a separate thing just to make it easier to read. So this will then produce, you can see I'm reading the nationality, the beginning year, the end year, and putting these into a formula. And then this puts together, in this case, it's American, and we don't have a birth year, so it died in 1992. If I flash fill this, so I double click on this, you can see this copies down. So we've got different versions of this. So here there's a beginning year and ending year because we've got both their birth year and death year. Further down, we've got some where it's just an ending year. So, oh, right here in the first one is died. And then here is just born. So if I make this a 0, if I make this a 0, it will just put that they're American. And then if I put in values for both, 1945, it will put that. And I can adjust this. And what's nice about this is if I adjust this here, I just make this quick adjustment. And I say, I want to take the spaces out of that part of it. All I have to do is edit one of them, and then it will reformulate all these. So I don't need to copy it down. I don't need to remember to do it. It will just reformat those. So, I can change that to anything I want, just as an example. And then it will fill those out so you can see all those get updated. So it's a nice way to create a custom formula. Yes, I could have done this in a true formula. I could have made an if statement, say if this, if this, if this, but it sometimes becomes so complicated that it's easier to do it. There's also a time where you may be referencing another database or data source, another sheet. Again, you could do that in Excel in the normal formulas that you just type into the address bar, but it is easier sometimes just to create a custom formula through the code. It's one place to change it. It's easy to read. It's easy to debug. So if there's an issue here, I can debug it. With if and and statements, they can become very complicated, and making sure that you close all those and take into account all the different kinds of values that may come up. It's very linear and very difficult to do. So